What if I told you that some of the most popular money advice you've ever heard is actually holding you back financially? I'm talking about rules like always follow the 50-30-20 budget, never touch your emergency fund, renting is throwing money away, and just earn more and you'll be fine. These sound responsible. They sound smart. But in real life, they can quietly cost you thousands of dollars. While many of these still hold some truth, no one will tell you where these rules start and end, and you could be secretly bleeding financially based on poor financial advice. Today, we're breaking down 8 popular money rules that are actually terrible advice and what you should be doing instead. Stick around, because at least one of these is probably something you're following right now. Rule number 1, the 50-30-20 rule. Let's start with one of the most famous budgeting rules ever created, the 50-30-20 rule, which stands for 50% of your after-tax income goes to needs, 30% goes to wants, and 20% goes to savings. Sounds clean and balanced. But think again, and it also sounds completely unrealistic for a lot of people depending on where you live and how much money you make. Why this rule breaks in high-cost cities. If you live in places like New York, San Francisco, or LA, rent alone can eat up 60 to 80% of your take-home pay. A one-bedroom averaging $3,500 a month means you'd need about $126,000 a year just to fit the 50% needs rule. The honest truth is most people don't make that. So when people say, just follow 50-30-20, what they're really saying is, ignore reality. And you should really give some flexibility to this based on where you live. Why 20% savings can actually be too low. Now flip that around. If you're a high earner making $200,000 and saving only 20%, you're probably leaving wealth on the table. At higher incomes, the real danger isn't survival, it's lifestyle inflation. This is why many financial advisors suggest 30 to 40% savings for six-figure earners, and early retirees often save 50% or more. The takeaway, the 50-30-20 rule isn't completely wrong, it's just not universal. Someone with a high income in an expensive city may adjust this to 60-10-30, which suggests 60% housing in a more expensive city, 10% wants, and 30% towards savings given the higher income. Rule number 2, emergency fund myths. Next rule you've heard 1,000 times. You must have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. Here's the truth. That number depends entirely on your life. You may need less. If you're in a dual-income household with stable jobs, you might be perfectly fine with 3 months. The odds of both incomes disappearing at the same time are lower. In contrast, you may need more. If you're self-employed, freelancing, or supporting kids alone, 3 months is risky. You may need 9 to 12 months, because income gaps happen, clients disappear, and job searches take longer than expected. The debt exception nobody talks about. If you have credit cards charging 18% interest, building a massive emergency fund first can actually hurt you. In that case, build a small starter fund, like $1,000. Then aggressively kill the high-interest debt, then rebuild the full emergency fund. Rules without context can be expensive. Rule number 3, debt payoff myths. Let's talk debt. You've probably heard, always pay off the smallest balance first. This is the debt snowball method. It feels good. It gives quick wins, but it often costs more money. The truth is, interest rates matter more than balances. If you have a credit card at 18% and a personal loan at 6%, paying the smaller balance first might feel motivating, but mathematically, attacking the highest interest rate saves you thousands. That's called the debt avalanche. And no, not all debt is bad. A 3% mortgage while your investments earn 8% is actually great. That's not a crisis, that's leverage. High-interest consumer debt is the enemy. Low-interest, strategic debt can coexist with wealth building. Rule number 4, credit card myths. A lot of people proudly say, I don't use credit cards. And that can actually hurt your financial future. Avoiding credit cards will backfire. You need credit history to secure healthy loans in the future, and credit cards can get you there easily. Credit scores are driven mostly by payment history and credit utilization. Not having credit cards means a thin credit file, which can lead to higher interest rates on mortgages, auto loans, and insurance premiums. This will quietly cost you more money in the future by not accumulating credit history, by keeping your loan percent low, and paying off your credit card bills on time consistently. The real danger isn't credit cards. Rather, the real danger is carrying balances from month to month. If you pay your statement balance in full every month, you build credit, you earn rewards, and you pay 0 interest. This means you accumulate good credit history without paying any interest. Credit cards aren't the problem. Poor habits of not paying on time and spending money that isn't yours are the problem. Rule number 5. Renting versus buying. Let's kill one of the most stubborn myths ever. Renting is throwing money away. This is absolutely not true. Overpaying for a house at the wrong time is throwing money away. There are many hidden costs of home ownership. Beyond the mortgage, homeowners deal with maintenance, property taxes, insurance, and HOA fees. On average, that's $16,000 to $21,000 per year. Nearly half of homeowners say they regret not accounting for these costs. Compare this to renting that does not come with those fees. Renting can be smarter if you'll move within 5 years, you don't have a solid down payment, or the price-to-rent ratio is high. If you invest the difference instead, many renters build more wealth than homeowners, with far less stress. Don't get me wrong, buying a house is not wrong, but this could depend on your current financial scenario, potential work, or family dependencies that might require you to move again, as well as current market rates. Do not buy a home just because someone told you renting is just throwing money away. Carefully evaluate your own scenario before making one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. Rule number 6. Investing myths. There are so many people that say, you need a lot of money to invest. No, you don't. Today you can even buy fractional shares that let you start with $1 to $5. Or maybe someone says you're too young or too old. Those are just excuses. Someone investing $50 a month at 25 often beats someone investing $100 at 35. Time matters, but starting late still beats never starting. Another myth that I've heard a lot is, cash is safe. That is not true, since inflation quietly eats the value of cash away. In other words, $100 today is worth less than $100 next year. At 3% inflation, your money loses value every year. Cash feels safe. But long term, it guarantees loss. Who wants a guaranteed loss? Start investing today after you have saved up an emergency fund. Rule number 7. Retirement rules that don't work. Small amounts don't matter. They absolutely do. $200 a month at 25 can grow to over $500,000 by retirement. Waiting until you earn more costs you the one thing you can't replace, time. They ignore debt, living costs, and your retirement timeline. Your plan should fit your reality. Rule number 8. The income fallacy. Nearly half of people making over $100,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Why? 1. Lifestyle inflation. Bigger paycheck, bigger house, nicer car, more subscriptions. In this scenario, income rises. Wealth doesn't. 2. Why high earners can have negative net worth. Without discipline, raises turn into liabilities. Wealth isn't about earning more. It's about keeping the same lifestyle and investing more. In other words, lifestyle inflation and poor financial discipline make income seem like someone is accumulating wealth faster than others, when in reality, this might not be true. I've seen this over and over with highly educated individuals with incomes above $400,000 annually. Don't be like this. All right, so let's get to the real problem. Here's the pattern. Most money rules started as simplifications. They become dangerous when people treat them like laws. Good advice becomes bad advice when it ignores your income, your location, your family, and your goals. Smart personal finance is flexible. Here I am providing a table of the 8 money myths we just went over. I encourage you to pause the video here and reflect on how each of these rules should be reasonably fit into your own life and personal finances. Don't just believe what others have advised you. They don't know you and your financial scenario like you do. So now let me summarize and leave you with a message. Popular money rules stick around because they're easy to repeat. But the best question isn't, what's the rule? It's, does this rule make sense for me right now? Don't forget to ask yourself that. If this video challenged something you've believed about money, hit like. If you want more content that cuts through financial myths, subscribe, and comment below. Which money rule did you grow up hearing that you now question? I'll see you in the next one.